कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं.
Telangana State Police, in association with SCSC, Society for Cyberabad Safety Council, has launched Law Enforcement CISO Council, CISO, Chief Information Security Officers, an act that could curb the cyber activities which is at rampant in the digital world.
And the last star is actually the citizens. So those are the 10 stars. And of course the share has blocked 4 circles on the bottom. That is actually the, now you can see it. That's the Cyber Bureau, the Government of Telangana, and of course the TSPCC and the SCSC coming together. That covers the entire Law Enforcement CISO Council. Thanks to Sashi, it is somewhere here, for putting a beautiful logo for us and using this as a platform. We hope to bring all of the information security leaders across India.
So something should be done immediately. I said, what happened? So he said that one of his senior colleague sent him a message that he requires some urgent money. Can you send some? And he deposited 5 lakh rupees. So I said, where were you then? He said, I was just coming out of a seminar on cyber safety. So, why I said this? Because sometimes those who handle the subject, they take it a little casually. And it has happened in other professions. In the early 19th century, 1840, 1830s, there was something called sudden death of mothers in Europe, in which young mothers after delivery, within 24 hours or sometimes within 50-60 hours, they were dying. And it continued for almost 20 years. In the process, by one estimate, more than 20,000 women died. Despite an article in a journal that it was because of lack of proper sanitizing their hands and all. It took almost 20 years for them to realize. And the death was so much that the same doctors were doing surgery in the morning, delivering baby, and the same doctors were doing post-mortem for those people who had died in the evening. And they were not doing the cleaning of the equipments and all. So though they were professionals, experts, but sometimes problem happens in such a way that we need
SMEs which are repeatedly besieged by threats and are ill-equipped to handle compared to the larger MNCs. The recent targeted attacks on government and critical infrastructure institutions during the G20 event Delhi goes to highlight the imminent need to institutionalize the fight against cyber threats. But why this and why now? Of late, we have been receiving various requests from industry, MSMEs for the support to mitigate cyber incidents, legal and compliance help, and investigation support. While we understand the threat scenario, we are not fully equipped to handle these, and there is a dire need to have a platform for industry, by the industry, which can enable us to enable you. In this regard, today we are launching the first Law Enforcement CISO Council. In fact, I'm happy to announce that it's the first of its kind in the entire country. I must candidly admit we stand at the dawn of this endeavor. Our resolve is unbreakable and unwavering, but our capabilities are limited and will require collective and collaborative efforts in our fight against cyber crimes and threats. Every cybersecurity breach has an imminent criminality in it, and every cyber attack has an element of cyber crime in it. The cyber crimes and threats are intertwined with each other. Hence, your expertise, insights, and support are pivotal to co-creating a fortified cyber security ecosystem where it is not only important to defend and mitigate the threats, but also equally important to bring the criminals to justice by investigation and prosecution. So what does this collective endeavor mean for the industry leaders and CISOs joining hands with us in this journey? Firstly, a reduced attack surface. Our proactive and relentless pursuit of cyber criminals will mean a palpable, reduced risk and frequency of.
We were trying to ask him how much of, is there any possibility of getting some work done in Hyderabad, in Telangana? That is one of the important priorities for us, to get as many companies as possible to our state. And while we were talking, the issue came to cyber threats, cyber security, and in this conversation he let out that on an average day, the database of MasterCard attempts are made at least 10,000 times to hack it. And on a bad day, this can go up to 30,000, 40,000 attempts also. So we automatically asked that how much of your preventive work, your kind of security work is done in India, because as you know, India is the flavor in the US, lots of work gets done here. But he pointed out that we do so many other things in India, but not cyber security, because that atmosphere where we can openly share, we can discuss, we can get support is still not there. So one of the speakers pointed out the trust factor. This is what he was hinting at, that we just don't have that atmosphere of trust where people can come up and share and discuss and talk about the patterns of risk and attacks and things like that, so that if you have suffered once, at least you ensure that 20 others don't suffer the same fate. So obviously this platform which is getting created, the CISO Council, the LE CISO Council, will plug that gap. And the other important thing, of course, other speakers have pointed out, this sharing is very, very important. See, the way enterprises get targeted these days is most obviously through ransomware. That has become a big, big menace, and very little of that gets reported. So when you showed that India has only 13% of share of attacks, it looks highly kind of underreported. My guess is that India will be more than Korea also. And one of the reasons, of course, is there is a public shame also to admit that I left my systems vulnerable, someone found a breach and they were able to get in, and I had to pay so much of ransom and all that. But more than that, again, is this issue that whom do I tell? Even if I tell, will anything happen? And that kind of community is not there. So sharing that information is very important. I would like to mention that there is a global initiative of getting all such incidents compiled at one place, which has been started by Verizon, this US telecom company called Verizon. They publish an incident report annually, and we are the subscribers to it, so we have access to it. And I'll be very happy to pass it on to the CISO Council, to Cyberabad Commissioner, and to the Cybersecurity Bureau. Whatever it is worth, they do give detailed analysis of what kind of attacks happened and what kind of vulnerabilities were exposed, and so on and so forth. There are a few suggestions for this council, which I would like to kind of openly mention. There are 4 suggestions. So one suggestion is that, of course, in your vision, your mission, your objectives also, you have alluded to it, that instead of reinventing the wheel, you will integrate other existing institutions and bodies into your activity. So I would like to also point out that there are 3 important institutions which we have promoted. IT department of the Telangana government have promoted. So please work with them. One, of course, is the SOC, the Security Operations Center.
The picture that you are seeing on the screen is a simple message that the impact this particular challenge or the problem can create is beyond even our imagination. And in a way, the creation of the council is also stemmed from what is really happening in the market today. Let's also look at how this impact is being distributed across multiple regions. And if you can go to the next slide for me. You might be wondering why India is only showing a small percentage out of the entire list. That's primarily because whatever is officially reported is what gets into the report. So I'm sure all of you can realize the fact that many a times we don't even report the information, and it doesn't even get noticed here. But if you look at it, the impact that you're probably seeing is an attack mostly on Korea, Taiwan, in the Asia region. And you can also notice that as soon as something radically happens, you just heard from our CP sir that when the G20 summit happened, there were enough attacks on the government organizations and other. And the same way, once the Ukraine war started, the impact that happened on many of those organizations within Ukraine has also gone up tremendously. If you notice on this slide, on the right side, it has a breakup of which particular organizations were getting impacted more. It could be educational institutions, the government bodies, or most likely the financial services companies, what we typically call as the banking, financial services, and the insurance companies, which are probably the 40 or the 50 out of the 100 job seekers across the world. Now, you have noticed some of the problems with the data that we are showing on the screen, but just realize the fact that between the government of Telangana, the Telangana Cyber Bureau that got created very recently, and with the collaboration of Cyberabad Security Council, which is a non-profit organization that works on focused safety-related activities in partnership with the law enforcement officials, the Telangana State Police Center for Excellence on Cyber Security, TSPCC, has formed. And in fact, for those who are probably eager to see, that Center of Excellence is right next to this building. There is a lot of activities happening there. We felt there is a need for bringing all of them together to the platform of the CISO Council.
We've just started. There's a long way to go, and we'll learn in the process and kind of figure out all the tooling, all the mechanism, all the processes that we need to set up. But upfront, we have come up with some framework, which is what we wanted to give you a glimpse of, and then kind of join forces with you as we move in this journey. So our aspiration is that as we move ahead, we run this organization just like any large mature organization would be doing. We want to leverage industry standards, industry regulation, well-established industry frameworks. And obviously, this is an effort which has been there for quite some time. And there are well-known industry standards like NIST, RMF, which is risk management framework. So we want to adopt practices from there as we kind of build this team and this kind of function. So this over here on your screen is just a glimpse of the framework that we are going to use, which some of you may be familiar with who are from this industry and have been kind of implementing it in your own organization. So that is one aspect. But then if you take a slightly deeper look as to how any kind of cybersecurity function in your organization or in any other larger organization work, it will typically have different teams, different units with subject matter experts to tackle different types of challenges that you face, right? So we, if you look at it as a flow, right, we start from kind of identifying what do we need to protect, right, and kind of securing that first. And then we move into a stage whereby we implement different tools and technologies to detect anything which is going wrong, potential attacks, things like that. And then we also develop capabilities whereby we can respond to it, kind of mitigate this,